in a world where loyal companions await, one place stands as their beacon of hope. The Pet Resource Center of Hillsborough County, where you can adopt your very own superhero. Adopt a dog. Find your sidekick and unlock the power of unconditional love. Suit up, show up, and adopt today. For more information, visit hcfl.gov/pets.
Good morning and welcome to the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners Budget Reconciliation Public Hearing. Would everyone please rise for pledge and invocation given by our chaplain, Commissioner Gwen Myers.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, gracious Heavenly Father, I come to you this morning to say thank you for all that you've allowed this county to do. Thank you for what you've allowed us to do during this fiscal year. As we prepare for a new fiscal year, Father, all that has been submitted to us in a $12 billion proposed budget, I ask that you bless this budget. Bless our leadership, bless our county administrator, bless all those who are here this morning to give their comments regarding our budget. God, you know everything that we do should be pleasing in your sight, and I ask this blessing in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Myers. This time, I'll pass things over to the County Administrator for opening remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, Commissioners. This morning, we'll complete our annual budget reconciliation public hearing. There are four main purposes of this morning's meeting. The first, this is a public hearing, and you'll receive public comment regarding the budget. After that, Kevin Brickey, Budget Director, will give a brief overview of the fiscal year 26 budget. It will be a much abridged version of the one that you've already heard. And then thirdly, the board will consider changes to the recommended budget, including a discussion of flag items and any reallocation of HOPE funds. Changes to the budget may be made through the last budget hearing, which is going to be September 18th. And lastly, the board will approve preliminary millage rates as required by Florida statutes. This action is required by state law and will enable the property appraiser to issue the truth and millage notices to property owners in August. And so now it would be appropriate to take public comment.
Okay, thank you. We'll go into the public comment portion of the agenda. I know we have two individuals that have signed up this morning, a Cynthia Godling and then a Sheila Simmons-Tribble. Please come forward. Each person will be given 3 minutes. Please state your name and speak clearly in the microphone. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Cynthia Goding. I want to thank you, commissioners, for your time and all you do to serve the residents of Hillsborough County. My husband and I have been residents of Hillsborough County since 1992. We were fortunate to both have jobs and the means to purchase a house in Tampa at that time. We have resided in the city of Tampa and Hillsborough County ever since, where we raised our two children who are now both independent adults. Hillsborough County has been a great place to raise a family and continues to grow and morph into an area desirable to many. It is described as many as one of the fastest growing places to live in the country. With that comes much responsibility to you all as elected leaders to guide the resources, development, and welfare of the diverse population of our county. Thank you for taking on this responsibility. With that said, I am a concerned resident. I am concerned about the persistent shortage of affordable housing in our county. As the population demand and wealth has continued to grow, we all have witnessed a significant increase in housing prices and rent, demolition of once affordable housing, thus making living in the county unaffordable to many I know, including those working at jobs critical to our health, safety, and education of our children. Over the past 6 years, many citizens and experts have continued to present evidence at these forums quantifying the county's growing and unsatisfied need for more affordable housing. This commission is also on record at a recent meeting I attended stating they recognize the need for the affordable housing. I am grateful that for the past 6 years, the county has recognized the need for affordable housing and provided funds and partnered with private sector to provide much units through the HOPE funds. No one group can solve this problem on their own, but through private-public partnerships, we have a chance. We need these partnerships to make a dent in the problem. I am asking you to preserve the original intent of the $10 million and allocate some, if not all, toward affordable housing. I understand there is some money that will be available from HUD, with a portion of it allocated to affordable housing. It is my understanding that the intent of these funds is to replace housing lost from floods, and I am sure there are many stipulations and uncertainty on the use of the money. Preserving money separately in the county's budget makes affordable housing a priority and enables work that has been started to continue. There is more need that can be covered by both of these funds combined. Completely removing an allocation for affordable housing from the general budget tells me as a resident that you, as our elected county leaders, are choosing to disregard the affordable housing needs of our county.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Godding.
you.
Appreciate your comments. Sheila Simmons Tribble.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Thank you for the chance to speak this morning and for the support that you have shown affordable housing over the past 2 years. For this, we are truly grateful. I'm here to give voice to seniors on fixed income, veterans, people with disabilities, and many working families who simply can't afford to keep up the pace with today's rent. The need is real. A single rent hike can mean choosing between medication and shelter. The county's local dollars have already shown to be very valuable. Since 2019, the Hope Affordable Fund has helped launch more than 1,000 affordable homes, including 386 this year alone, because every county dollar pulls in state, federal, and private money. The good news is the money for affordable housing is already in the budget, and we're asking that you keep at least $2 million of those dollars dedicated to homes for low and very low income families. Even that modest amount will preserve progress and prevent hundreds of our neighbors from sliding into homelessness. Some have said that the program duplicates the state efforts. In fact, most state dollars require a local match, and without that allocation, we leave millions on the table and families out looking for housing. So first, thank you for what the board has funded so far. Second, please continue to invest at least a minimum of $2 million specifically for affordable housing. And finally, remember the faces behind the numbers. The senior who would be able to sleep indoors, the veteran who would be no longer couch surfing, and the child who can do homework at a kitchen table as opposed to a car seat. Safe, stable homes continue to help and strengthen our whole community. I urge you to keep this vital funding in place. Thank you for your time, and especially thank you for your service.
And can you please state your name, ma'am? Ma'am, can you please state your name? Can you state your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sheila Simmons Tribble.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, that closes public comment. This time, Mr. Bricky will make a budget presentation. Good morning,
Thank
Kevin.
you, and good morning, Commissioners. Kevin Bricky, Director of Management and Budget. The total recommended County Administrator's recommended fiscal year 2026 budget is $12.088 billion. The operating is a little bit over $4.1 billion. 24% of that is in the area of public safety. 94% of the increase in the total budget of 1.757 is in the capital program and in reserves, and most of that is accounted for by the One Water project and related reserves. In the County Administrator's recommended budget is an additional 0.1 millage swap, similar to what was in and approved for the FY25 budget. This 0.1 millage swap will reduce countywide revenue by about $17.9 million and increase unincorporated revenue about $10.6 million. This increases the financial stability of the unincorporated fund and increases resources to that fund, which is mainly accounted for by public safety and transportation. That will be a net decrease in taxes in the cities, but there is also a decrease for the unincorporated area of about $2.6 million in property taxes, as the unincorporated area parks debt millage of 0.0259 mils is no longer needed as that debt has matured. The millage swap will result in, on a $350,000 home, a $30 decrease to a city homestead at that, and no net change unincorporated. The FY26 recommended countywide general fund is $1.6 billion. About 56% of that is accounted for by the sheriff and other elected and constitutional officials. The FY26 unincorporated area general fund of $894 million, you see laid out there in that graph, 2/3 of that is dedicated to public safety, fire rescue, and the sheriff. Within the budget, there are a number of capital investments from general funds and the current CIT, transportation, $134 million, fire rescue, or nearly $34 million. That's primarily a new fire station, a replacement fire station. $30 million for the sheriff, which is primarily relocating his operations center. And then $10 million for stormwater and some other areas as well. Today, as the county administrator mentioned, is the budget reconciliation public hearing. County administrator did mention that by law that this is where we set, or you set, the truth and millage rates. Those are the initial rates that go to the property appraiser in order to issue the truth and millage notices. Those rates are setting a maximum, which can be adopted in September. Also discussing flag items and the $10 million that was previously within the HOPE ordinance, but is within the recommended budget right now for affordable housing. And also in your packet on the last 2 pages are the nonprofits that are affected by the nonprofit policy revision that you approved on July 16th, a 25% reduction within that policy for FY26. And I do want to thank you as we built the flag list, which is in your packet. We received from you the nonprofit background for those, so thank you very much. This is looking at the trim millage that matches the recommended budget. If you make any changes during today, we have scenarios already, and we can let you know as that arrives. We are well through this calendar. We're near the bottom there at the July 30th reconciliation meeting. And in the next steps in the process will be September 4th, will be a public hearing where you'll adopt a tentative budget and millages, and September 18th, the final budget and millages. With that, I thank you.
Well, I thank you. I think that was the quickest presentation you've ever given.
You're welcome.
So you're good. Well done. Board members, prior to setting the trim millage rates, we need to address the flagged items and HOPE funding. I would suggest we dispose of the flag items first. In the years past, we voted on the entire list at one time unless a commissioner wants to vote separately on an item. Unless that's the case, I would entertain a motion on the flag list and not, I want to stress, not the community project list that were also identified. We'll consider that with the HOPE funding, but just the flagged items right now. So, Commissioner Bowles.
I'd like to go ahead and make that motion to accept the flag list only.
Okay.
Second.
As presented.
Okay, so we got a motion by Commissioner Bowles, second Commissioner Myers. With that, No one else in the queue, please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay. Now, with respect to the released HOPE funding, I know the intent and direction from Commissioner Bowles at the time he brought this forward was to use a significant portion toward public safety. At the same time, I know in our backup there are several uses that commissioners have suggested, and so I would suggest that we kind of address those first, however we want to, any change that we want to make or go with that, and then if there are any remaining dollars, they can either be left in general fund, they can be used for a countywide purpose, or if we want to use them for an unincorporated need, that would require an additional millage swap. And also, that does not need to be decided today as well if we didn't want to, if we weren't prepared to do that. So with that, Commissioner Bowles.
Okay, thank you. When I brought to the board a few months ago to repeal the 1919 ordinance, my goal was kind of twofold. It was, one, to free the county administrator, whoever that may be, but in this case, Bonnie, from the handcuffs that have been placed upon her for having to bring that $10 million encumbrance up every single year and then have this, I think it was even mentioned by our audience at one point in time, the political football being thrown around. And then on the other side was to balance some additional support for public safety, and then also one of those goals was to provide some type of tax relief for Hillsborough County homeowners. We successfully completed that first step, as I see, and we got that done with the repeal of 1919. But it doesn't mean that we've forgotten about the issues that still remain in our community with affordable housing, and I think, again, it is very important, but I think the path that we were provided did cause some issues with us, and I'm hopeful that we can have that similar success today. So at the very least, Kevin, and for the board, I'm going to propose some numbers and to kind of see where it falls, and then maybe we can have some discussion about that. Would that be appropriate? Sure, Mr. Chair. Okay. So we know we have $10 million set aside by the county administrator in this year's budget that we don't have to, it was there, we don't have to find it, it's there. But what we can do is that if we decide to take some of that portion, because those are countywide dollars, as I understand, correct?
Yes.
And those countywide dollars can then be, I'm saying converted, but it's all on a ledger and it's math. Those countywide dollars can be converted over to unincorporated dollars, which was kind of the whole original premise that I wanted to do. And that would give a huge, and I say huge is all relative, right? A tax reduction in some sorts. So what I would propose, and for discussion, is that we consider a conversion, my verbiage, probably not, I'm sure Kevin's having a problem with this, my talk here, but to leave $2.5 million in that countywide dollars, take $7.5 to convert it over to unincorporated dollars. My numbers make it around 4.47 million, something like 4.5 million. I'm rounding.
The reduction in countywide would be a little bit above 7.5 million because of rounding, and that would be a reduction in millage of 0.0418.
4.18. Okay, so now in all you municipalities, the three, would see a reduction of 0.0418 with those two numbers.
Yeah, countywide, there would be a reduction of 0.0418.
Okay, and then, but then if we moved it over, it would be like a net zero for unincorporated.
And then if that 0.0418 were then a swap to the unincorporated area,
swap.
then that would increase unincorporated revenue by about $4.47 million. but that would be only to unincorporated parcels.
Right, which then we can use for things like public safety out in the unincorporated areas, which
Right.
was kind of that
The
original
unincorporated,
goal.
yes, the unincorporated fund is about 70%.
But we could also use it for some of the community projects, I think, that have been brought up by some of our board members. And I think if we look at those numbers, that if, at the very least, we can keep the 2 million that we've committed in the past, so we can show some grace and empathy in that we do care about our community. But we can, if we kept that $2 million number, that extra, and I'm calling it extra, based on history, that 500,000 could be used for a community project for that Commissioner Myers brought up for breakfast food for children, right? That would be around 536 is what she's flagged. And then the remaining would all come from countywide dollars for the transportation, and then what I brought up as the septic to sewer for High Five, and then the STEP scholarship for the underserved community and children for future leaders and firefighters in our community. We've done that program. That was through CBDG grant, or HUD grant, I believe. For last year, it was a pilot program, it was very successful. We had 15 young adults go through that program. They're getting ready to graduate at the end of this week. Happy to see that happen. I'd like to see at least one more year of that go, and maybe, we can build that into the budget. It's a fantastic, opportunity. So, so my proposal is the Commissioner Myers, Commissioner Hagan, and then the other money coming from the unincorporated.
The STEP dollars would be appropriate to be unincorporated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need exact numbers? I have a spreadsheet here. Are you working it out?
Kevin, do you understand that
Yes.
what he's suggesting?
So at a high level, yes. First of all, a reduction of $7.5 million in countywide revenue. That would be a 0.0418 millage reduction countywide to all parcels. And then take that 0.0418 mils and increase the unincorporated millage by that amount. And that increases unincorporated revenue by about $4.47 million. So that would be as far as the millage rates, the total millage rates, the unincorporated area, a net change of 0. In the cities, there would be a net change of minus 0.0418, and that'd be about a $3 million reduction.
Okay, and the uses that were identified in the backup, can you distinguish between which ones coming out of countywide
So
and which
that would
ones
leave, yes, sir. That would leave $2.5 million of the 10 in the countywide fund. $2 million would remain with affordable housing, the HOPE dollars. 500,000 or 536, I'm not sure.
Well, I see, and if I'm using, Commissioner Myers' numbers, 536,601, that would leave $1.963,399.
Right.
In for a HOPE fund.
So
if we just use those two numbers, whatever the difference between the two is, that's what it is. It's countywide, doesn't matter.
You want $2 million to the HOPE funds?
Round down.
Round
Or
down.
you'd round it
Yeah, whatever those two end up being.
So the step would be $360,000 in unincorporated. So that removes that.
Yeah, transportation,
I
that
believe that's part of your-
290,000. So ultimately, at the very end, I have it at $967,100 for a final number coming to what I'd like to have placed towards public safety in the large majority of homeowners and property owners and taxpayers in Hillsborough County for $3.5 million into that non-allocated fund.
So I see $1,372,601 for the community projects other than STEP, and so that reduces the $2.5 million.
Bonnie, you want to add something while he's
I'm
doing
sorry, I wanted to clarify something, because if we're trying to incorporate all the community projects, I guess the
Those
first
three.
question is yes. Some of these are actually countywide and don't need to be swapped. And I think you're swapping more than that which is necessary,
Okay.
because High Five, and you can correct me, High Five and
The transportation.
Feeding Tampa Bay and the Skill Center
I
can
didn't include Skills Center.
Okay, that's the question. Could come out of countywide.
So the
They
High
do
Five-
not, High Five, mhm,
I was
because
under
it's
the-
not just restricted to children and
Okay.
unincorporated.
All right, so I was under the understanding that that would need to stay in the unincorporated. But thank you for your clarification. So that's where the number differences are. So whatever the difference is to make that up. I want to keep roughly $2 million in countywide for affordable housing. I want to take the difference thereof with those two projects now. Now you got to add another $500,000. It's a swap, so
Yeah,
get that.
and we can, now that we know what you're trying to do, we can figure out the math. And I just would want to note on the Skills Center, this is Commissioner Meyer's project,
Yep.
but that does have City of Tampa match. And so I just wanted to point that out for you.
Okay,
Well,
but for the purposes of this,
my
of his
discussion.
discussion, it's not including the skills
That's
center. We
correct.
can address that
Yes, ma'am.
afterward. Okay.
This is the kick it off.
No, I just needed to know what you wanted
To
to
talk
include
about it.
and what you didn't.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Kevin, you keep working on that, and then
I'll yield.
We'll
Then,
keep
so
going
that's,
for
if
discussion.
we're clear on everything.
I think we
I'll
understand
yield.
the
Thank-
the intent. Okay, Commissioner Wostel?
Thank you. I will. It feels like we're kind of going back on everything we went through. It feels like you should just do a clean sweep of what we originally intended. The county-wide has historically been way over budgeted in reserves, and we could simply, if we wanted to, if you really wanted to, which I will vote no separately on that, because using property taxes, which are a part of the cost of rent and the cost of a home, to subsidize, if anything, let's just call it the developer subsidy fund, because that's what it really is. You should just do a clean sweep. It's very confusing. Commissioner Hagan's item makes absolute sense out of the conversion, because it's for public safety, and we all know that turn lane it has to be done. It's a horrific area. That's a good one. Yours makes sense on the HCFR. It's also for public safety, and we want to get more qualified people into. I have no idea. I mean, every year, no disrespect to the District 3 office, but that office always goes over the flag amount by usually substantial amounts, and this is just another workaround to it. When we go through it, it's gone every year, even before I got here. So I don't understand why we're doing that individual addition. I would just say that out of whatever conversion you do, which I think you should just do the whole thing, on my flag, I'm going to be asking, and it's nothing to single out District 2, and maybe next year I can find one in District 4, but Arbor Lakes is just, it's really bad. It's really old, but it's barely missing. Even though we're putting record funding to sidewalk repair, we're barely missing them, and it's really bad. So the 600,000, I actually need like 200 more. I'm waiting for Josh to get me the full amount. So when we convert more into unincorporated, I'm probably going to be asking if we can finish that project up. But that's just what I'd say. It feels unnecessary for us to just go back on everything that we've talked about. And if we need to have a different discussion about funding it out of the countywide, I think that you should do it separate and clean. One thing, though, Mr. Chair, that comes to mind that I think that we need to do now that we have been consistently lowering the property tax burden on the city of Tampa is that I've brought this up in the past from a very old old settlement agreement from, to my understanding, the 70s or 80s, we have continued to maintain an obligation of several roads in the city of Tampa that creates an immense amount of confusion for the constituents. And I would argue that as we continue to decrease that countywide burden on the city of Tampa, that we need to get that full list and start removing those roads. That's a benefit to them, and that's something that I think that the taxpayers would be very grateful for, so it's no longer finger pointing of, is it Tampa City Council? I've dealt with a situation where it's like, well, we dealt with the road but not the curb, and now it's a back and forth about, you know, the voters don't want to hear who's responsible for the curb in between the sidewalk and the road itself. And I think that that's a situation we should look at beginning to wind down as we wind down the property tax burden on the city. So that's all I'll say for now about the HOPE funding. I just think it should be, clean, and I don't understand the additional flag essentially from the District 3 office. So thank you very much.
Commissioner Miller?
Thank you, Chair. So when we repealed 1919, I was pretty in the reasons why I was doing it. I didn't feel that the ordinance in itself was proper. You know, we trust the county administrator with managing every aspect of the budget, except for at some point the commissioner saw fit to like mandate this $10 million. So I was strongly supporting removing it completely because I trust the county administrator to write an appropriate budget based on the needs of the county. And I don't think that this changed. I feel like it should go back to her if it's been flagged for this year, and this year we have to make a decision. Then I feel like, say, all $10 million to public safety because that's a need, or all $10 million to storm. I will not be supporting any cherry-picked items with this funding.
Commissioner Cohen?
I be happy to support your suggestion as made. I want to, though, agree with something Commissioner Wustel just brought up about the roads in the city. I mentioned at the last meeting what a beautiful job the county did with repaving Howard Avenue, which is a county road inside the city of Tampa. There's Armenia is being done. There's Columbus Drive. There's a lot of work that the county's done, and it's done a really good job. My understanding has always been that the prerequisite to us handing control and responsibility of those roads back to the city was that they had to be in good shape when we handed them over. We couldn't hand them over a pile of a mess. So it would seem to me that probably the time is ripe as we move through these projects to have these discussions, and I think it's an excellent point. But I do just want to take the opportunity again to point out what a great job the county's done on the roads. Getting back to this, I am grateful to hear that there's sentiment for giving the $2 million to affordable housing programs, and however else the money ultimately gets divided up. All of the options that are being discussed here are good ones. We have good programs. We have excellent suggestions for public safety and traffic needs. So however the board wants to go is fine on that.
Commissioner Myers?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Regarding the 3 additional items that on our community project list, in meeting with the CEOs in regarding of 2 of the projects, Feeding Tampa Bay, which the Children's Board has agreed to provide half a percentage of the match for that, and the county will consider the other match. When we talk about the school pantry for our children, there are 30 schools throughout the county that have pantries that our children, when school start, would not be able to have food after school or on the weekends. And so finding additional funding and finding match money, that's a win-win for our county. Our children are our future leaders, and they need something to eat. We all know the whole story when it comes to whether a child will have a meal or be able to study at school because they did not have anything to eat at home. And so it is our responsibility to provide funding for that to help our children. They're our children. Yes, they're under the school board, but they're also our children in this county. The second thing with the skills center, again, providing that needed services to our youth. We were able just this year alone, working with the Children's Board, is to provide funding so they will have somewhere to go in the evenings, that our children do not get in any trouble as they're home for summer break. That is another win-win for our county. We have not heard of any major incidents this summer with many of our youth. And so when we can find alternate things for our youth to do and stay involved, learn leadership skills and all, again, that's another win-win for our county. So if it is a District 3 that's bringing these items up, it is because my district needs the help. And as the commissioner for District 3, I want to help my community. I ran on the theme, it's about the people. I'm serving the people of my county when I meet with CEOs who come to me with their concerns and ask, Commissioner, could you help me? That is what I'm supposed to do as a commissioner. It's not privilege for District 3, it's privilege for the children, the families that need. It's the underserved. And District 3 has prospered quite a bit since I've been sitting in this seat. And I'm going to continue to fight for my district to make sure every underprivileged child has the opportunity to have better in their life. They're looking for the same thing Commissioner Myers had. I've always had a better opportunity because my father had a good job. And when I'm in my district every weekend, I look at those children. All they're looking for is hope and opportunities. And we should be a board, we should be members of this board to be able to provide that same opportunity that we sit around this board and make decisions. They're looking for the future, and they are our future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Myers. A couple comments, and I'll go back to Commissioner Bowles. First of all, I think it's excellent, excellent discussion. I truly appreciate where what Commissioner Bowles is trying to do. Clearly, he's putting in a lot of work on this. I do agree with Commissioner Wolstel that it's probably the best direction would be to try and simplify the process, both for board members and staff, and also as a courtesy to those board members who oppose certain items. So what I would respectfully suggest is let's take care of the conversion and then and the public safety dollars, if we can do that in one motion, and then we can address the other items either individually or collectively. Procedurally, can we do that? So
that's certainly possible. The millage motion would still have to come at the end.
Right.
So if the desire is that $2 million would go to would remain with Hope on affordable housing.
We're going to address that.
Well, it gets to the how much would be swapped.
We're going to entertain that.
Okay.
But it's to be determined if that ultimately passes. Okay. I mean, that's the intent. That may or may not occur.
I see.
So can we craft it so roughly the 4.7 million or the 5 million does go toward public safety, which yes, I think there's probably unanimous agreement on that at a minimum.
Yes, you could have a millage swap. It could be 7 million. It could be 7.5 million. Anywhere up to 10 million.
All right, Commissioner Bowles.
So this is why we love discussing. This is the great thing about discussing it here, and it's unfortunate we can't discuss it outside of this, for the purposes of trying to come up with a plan. But regardless, so what I hear is that there is certainly some support for a rollback. What that number is, where we are, and how we divvy it up afterwards, that's the problem with that. I find that, the 10 million, if it was the rollback of, I got to look at my spreadsheet, would be, we're like, it's 0.6 conversion. It's like, that would be 6 million. If you did an entire amount, left nothing in countywide, it would leave roughly 6 million in
it would leave
unincorporated
5.95 million.
Okay.
Would be swapped.
Right.
effectively to unincorporated.
I'm rounding up, sorry. Okay. But since it sounds like there's some money needs to stay in countywide for some of the community projects, I would entertain a motion that we do the at least a 2.5, 7.5 swap and leave it at that. And then we get a 0.0418 municipality reduction with the net zero on the unincorporated.
Do those numbers,
I think that's fine.
at the end of the day, there would be enough money to approve what's been suggested here? Not to say that that would happen, but we would not have to go back and flip money again to make the numbers add up. You follow what I'm saying?
If the desire is $2 million, we would remain with Hope funds, and about $1 million for those three that would be there, then we would probably need to leave $3 million in the countywide fund, so go for a $7 million swap. But that's up to the board.
Just to be safe.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Wise?
Or we can do the 7.5 and we'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I
So
think you indicated
don't worry
that.
about it. If it's
that-
close, don't worry. We'll figure it
that
out.
$500,000 for the septic to sewer was going to be countywide. So then that would flip it the other way. So then that's where you're going with the $3 million, right?
Septic to sewer?
Or the high five stuff.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
the project, yeah.
Yes, that
That's
could be
kind of-
countywide, yes.
Okay, so
Yes,
that's
sir.
where the extra $3 million
But
is.
as the county administrator said, whether it's
Yeah,
7 or 7.5, we can make adjustments.
You can
And so it
squeeze,
would
you
be
can squeeze
small
that grape, find
adjustments.
some more juice, huh?
Right,
Yes.
so I would
Interesting.
suggest it, why don't we put a motion on the floor and we'll see where it goes.
Very good. Let's do it.
So
Yeah.
it's 7.5?
Yeah, we'll do the 2.5, 7.5.
Okay, motion by
Start with
Commissioner Bowles. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Myers.
As a point of clarification, this is strictly on the funding just for the $2.5 million we're voting on?
We're going to address the projects after. So this is not voting on the projects. This is just voting on the funding.
We're divvying up the pools of money.
So just the 2.5 million? Okay.
Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Chair. So it feels cart before the horse to me. Why don't we make a decision on the things that we want to support and then figure out the swap afterwards? And I'm surprised that with your history of public safety, you're not wanting all of it for public safety.
Commissioner Wolstel.
How much is this year's budgeted reserves for countywide? It's usually 24%, right?
23% in the
This year,
recommended budget. Yes,
23%?
sir.
23% and of $1 billion basically is what the countywide. So you got $230 million of budgeted reserves if in the reserve countywide reserves. If you wanted to accomplish the high five, you could just ask for a one-time exodus of this low 317. It would not phase or impact her ability to maintain our bond rates in any way. You could accomplish that out of the budgeted reserves. We all know who they are and what they do for the community. So because I know that you could accomplish it in other ways that aren't being described to you, then we can address whether or not there needs to be more for affordable housing when we go further into the budget. I'm all about that, but since this was kind of thrust upon us today and we had it all locked in for the reversal of the ordinance 1919, just unless it's the 10 million, maybe you get it passed, but I'm just not going to support it only because we had a plan and now we're not at the plan, and because I know that you could follow the original plan and still accomplish helping high five. So there we go. Thank you.
Okay, so we got a motion by Commissioner Bowles, second Commissioner Cohen. I am going to support the motion on the floor, and then we can address the other items afterward if this passes. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 5-2. Commissioners Miller and Wolstel voted no.
Okay. Commissioner Bowles, do you want to?
So, going back to where we were before, and absolutely appreciate everything you two were saying, and I encourage this dialogue because I don't know what I don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. And if I could really feel good about getting it all pushed to public safety, that would be great. But I think there are a few other needs out there, and it's about some balance in taking care of some other things. So that is why, even though with my background, but you're on point. So with that, if we have that 2.5 and 7.5, we want to go project by project, Mr. Chair, because again, I want this to be as clean and easy as possible. And I'm not going to add anything more to what I previously suggested, but I would essentially just say that wherever those dollars fall.
I say we go project by project.
Okay.
There's only a few of them.
Let's go with the easiest one. We'll go with the $290,000 for the transportation project for the turn lane for the gun highway.
A motion for the gun highway turn lane project. Commissioner Bowles, second. Commissioner Wostel, please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Do I have the floor again, sir?
Keep going.
Thank you. Let's go with the STEP program, job training program for Hillsborough County Fire Rescue to deal with young adults at or below the 80% median income. That would be $360,000 set aside for that.
Motion, Commissioner Bowles, second. Commissioner Wostel, please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
We'll go with the High Five project. Everyone knows what they do. They do serve a public need out there, and this will help them kind of reach that goal to continue serving the public, and as well as taking care of some county stuff with, I think we talked about the sheriff's office trains there, the fire rescues trains there in their pools and all, and they provide a great program for youth drowning prevention, et cetera.
Motion, Commissioner Bowles, second. Commissioner Wostel, please record your vote.
Thank you.
Motion carried 7-0.
So now we're left with the Children's Food Pantry for $536,601 to consider that, and that would be coming from the countywide funds. So whatever the difference would be would reduce.
Okay, we got a motion, Commissioner Bowles, second. Commissioner Myers, please record your vote.
Motion carried 5-2. Commissioners Miller and Wostel voted no.
Okay, last item. Commissioner Myers, did you want to address that? And I do want to point out or restate what Bonnie stated, that it's my understanding this funding is contingent on the city matching it as well. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Myers. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote. You want to vote no. The Skills Center.
Commissioner Miller? Motion carried 4-3. Commissioners Bowles, Miller, and Wostel voted no.
Okay. One thing I want to ask staff to look into. Do you have anything else? Okay. And Commissioner Wostel brought this up. If the monies that Commissioner Wostel flagged for that project are not going to be enough to cover it, then we should at least address that at one of the public hearings, because clearly we're not going to start a neighborhood project and not finish it. So I don't know what that number is, but let's make sure that we can, staff's identified it and we can discuss it at one of the public hearings. Okay. Do we need a break for the trim notice, or is this? Yeah, you guys are on it. Usually.
And the affordable housing piece is kind of like what's left. We'll do the math.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Miller?
So we didn't vote on individually on the HOPE funds, though, correct? Okay. So do we need to do that?
We would take what was voted and do the math, subtract it out. There'd be something in the neighborhood of 1 million and some
So there would have to be a motion to remove that
at the moment.
in order for it not to go toward the affordable housing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if that's what you would like to do, then there needs to be a motion to actually remove it. Otherwise, it remains, correct?
Yes, sir.
Then I feel like there needs to be, I move that we remove it completely. That was what we all voted on when we repealed 1919. So my motion is that we remove the HOPE funding.
Okay, so motion to remove the balance in the HOPE fund, which is,
Right now, it's 917,299.
okay, by Commissioner Miller, second.
No?
Let's confirm that. Hold on a second. We're all running it at the same time, and we're coming up with different numbers. Hold on.
Okay. $1,417,299.
Okay, so the motion is to remove the $1,417,299
$417,299.
by Commissioner Miller, second Commissioner Wolstel. Please record your vote.
Commissioner Bowles? Motion carried 4-3. Commissioner Bowles, Cohen, and Hagan voted no.
Okay. So at this point, we need someone to read the trim notice.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, I don't think I think you've got to reconsider that vote. I don't think, I just based on the discussion just now, I don't think Commissioner Myers meant to vote yes.
Yes, voting yes removes the remaining HOPE fund dollars. So someone that's in the affirmative needs to cast a motion.
Motion to reconsider.
Motion to reconsider. Motion, Commissioner Wolstel. Do we have a second? Second, Commissioner Cohen. This is to reconsider the vote. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 5-2. Commissioner Bowles and Myers voted no.
You're good. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
And Mr. Chair.
So now the motion is to remove the 1.417 or 27, again, by Commissioner Wolstel, second Commissioner Miller. You fine with that?
I just wanted to, Mr. Chair, to be clear to the public, a motion to reconsider is a courtesy that should be extended. I want everybody to understand that that's why I made that motion.
Yes. Yes. No, and that's correct, and typically the board honors that. Okay, so the motion to remove the funding again. Somebody want to make that motion?
I make the motion to remove the funding from the HOPE funds.
By Commissioner Miller. Is there a
Second.
Second, Commissioner Wolstel. Please record your vote.
Motion failed 3-4. Commissioner Bowles, Cohen, Hagan, and Myers voted no.
So now are we prepared to read the trim notice? Okay. Would the Commissioner be kind enough to read this?
You want me to read it?
Yeah, Commissioner Cohen, please.
I move that we set the following proposed operating and debt service millages for the purpose of the trim notices and set the date, time, and place for the first public hearing on the Hillsborough County fiscal year 2026 budget. Countywide millages, operating general revenue fund, 5.4608 mils. Debt service, environmentally sensitive lands, 0.6 0604 mills. Total countywide millage, 5.5212 mills. Non-countywide millages operating, general purpose municipal services taxing unit, 4.6163 mills. Library Services District, 0.5583 mills. The proposed percent change of the aggregate millage rate from the aggregate rolled back millage rate as defined by state statute is an increase of 2.76% and is shown on line 27, Department of Revenue Form DR-420. The date, time, and place of the first public hearing on the budget will be Thursday, September 4th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at the Frederick B. Carl County Center, second floor boardroom, 601 East Kennedy Boulevard, Tampa, Florida, 33602. By approving this motion, the appropriate official is authorized to execute the necessary Department of Revenue forms.
Okay, second by Commissioner Myers. Please record your vote on the trim notice.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Bonnie, any other items that we need to cover?
We're good.
And nothing else, sir.
Okay, excellent discussion. With that, we're adjourned. Welcome back to the Board of County Commissioners brief recess. This time, Commissioner Cameron Cepeda had an item she wanted to bring forward. Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
Yes, thank you very much. There's an urgent and ongoing need for sustainable support of the Commission on Human Trafficking, particularly in light of reduced funding for nonprofit organizations and the continued crisis of human trafficking in our region. As a county, we must demonstrate our commitment to combating trafficking through stable investment in the Commission's work, allowing for long-term planning that meets the scale of the challenge we face. And I would like to make a move for the board to approve the allocation of an additional $300,000 in permanently recurring funding to support the operations and initiatives of the Hillsborough County Commission on Human Trafficking. This funding should be included in the county's annual budget beginning in the upcoming fiscal year rather than relying on non-recurring allocations or commissioner flag items. So the request is for the additional $300,000 in permanently recurring funding.
Question I have is, was their funding reduced, or how much are they receiving now?
$267,000.
That is the recurring amount. It is not a nonprofit, so it's not reduced.
They've been relying a lot on the flag items, commissioner flag items. Sometimes in the past, commissioners do not even put money there. I personally have put my flag items there since I've been here. But, you know, with what we've seen with the, you know, the nonprofits decrease in funding, we just need to make sure that, you know, we have a stable investment, and
So
it's very important
is
to meet
this
the scale and the challenge.
Is this a request for an additional $34,000, or is this an additional $300 on top of?
Additional $300,000, because instead of trying to rely on commissioner flag items.
I'll second for the purpose of discussion.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second by Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Bowles?
So since it's kind of tied into the policy change that, again, I was helped usher along a little bit with my colleagues here, the $276,000 is a non-profit, for nonprofits. This is a recurring fund that goes on in perpetuity until we decide at some point to chop that out of the existing budget. Is that correct?
It's a recurring amount in the non-departmental allotments.
Kind of like what we were just talking about for the other thing.
Yeah, not in the nonprofits.
Yeah, but I get it, yeah. So it's because it's one of our board's councils. So this would be like adding 500, so it would be like 576,000, $500,000, over $500,000, and as opposed to the 34,000 making up the difference. I mean, that's a pretty significant amount of money.
567,000.
I'm sorry, 67,000? And for that to go on,
Yes. I mean, but commissioners, sometimes the commissioners and sometimes they don't. I have added additional funding that we've been using. And like I said, you know, we have a major crisis with human trafficking, and we really need to have that funding there instead of relying on commissioner flag items. In the future, if, you know, commissioners are not supporting that, you know, we need to make sure that we're funding this commission on human trafficking.
is that like a countywide dollar thing?
That would be countywide.
So under the vein of what Commissioner Whistle brought up to me, and I really appreciate that, the idea that we have our reserves that kind of help our unincorporated bring that number up to where we keep our AAA rating, that's where the 24, 21%, that there's money set aside in there that at least right now, since we've already made a motion to transmit this, could we even consider using that versus
The board,
to start off with that so we don't have to go through this whole?
if the board desires that, we would add the 300,000 to that human trafficking allotment and reduce reserves by that 300,000.
And one last thing I'll ask is, did you provide 300,000 from your flagged items from last year to the?
More than that, yes.
More than that? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Commissioner Wostel?
Thank you. Just what I'm going to recommend is that you just rescind your motion, because this isn't the time or place. It's the same reason that I didn't like Commissioner Bowles' item. It's just, we don't need to do it here. You could bring back an item during a regular board meeting with a presentation about what the money is going to be spent on, which is like Commissioner Hagan's was easy because it's a turn lane. We know what the money is going to be spent on, and we know that it's a public safety enhancement. We know that human trafficking is an issue, but I need to know what the money is going to be spent on if we want to enhance that service and entice the county administrator to improve that in the budget. We can do that. But I remembered when the nonprofit report came back, I sit here and watched some of the most annoying political theater that happened, where it was like misrepresented that my nonprofit report from 2 years ago was surprised on everybody. It was absolutely not. It talked about for like 8 months. There was a huge, extensive report. They said that some commissioners said they were surprised to find out that it was reoccurring. No, absolutely not. It was talked about during that meeting, and it was clearly demonstrated on the report that Kevin Brickey and Tom Fessler worked on for me. And that's why I was so annoyed. Like, I didn't surprise anybody. It was very clear on my intent that the nonprofit spending has gotten just way out of control. And for the same reasons of then, this one actually is surprise on us. You should just rescind it. You should build something for us to look at and analyze the data, because if not, your motion's going to die today. I'm just letting you know right now it's going to die. So you should rescind it, bring an item that clearly demonstrates the need. Then we can talk to the administrator about where she can find that money. It does not need to be done today because we're not asking for an increase in the millage rate for it. That is my recommendation to you.
So it was my understanding from the conversations I had that today would probably be the best day because we're in the budgeting process. However, I don't have a problem with that at all, of bringing it back again with the information that you're requesting if the other board members would prefer that.
Yeah, similar to all the other items, at least there was backup that we could look at and consider, and clearly it's an important cause, but I mean, today I couldn't support it, and we'll see what ultimately comes forward. But we have the luxury of 2 additional public hearings and even doing it at a board meeting if we felt necessary. So I would suggest that also.
Okay, we'll bring it back.
Okay, so should rescind the motion?
Thank you. Oh, make a motion to,
Yeah, we'll just rescind it. So
yes, rescind it. Thank you.
okay, no other items. We're adjourned. Thank you.